Hello, everyone, and welcome to Loud and Proud Orlando. It's Monday, November the 4th, 7:02 p.m. Thank you to everybody that's live right now, not only on our YouTube channel and our X profile. I'm used to saying Twitter. Um, and also to everybody that's joining us via audio on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Thank you so much for your support. We are coming live. We're going to be today talking about the review of the round two loss versus Charlotte FC. Um, we're also going to be talking about the MLS East playoffs, and then also we'll be previewing round three. We'll force a round three at home at Enerco Stadium this Saturday. There's going to be back-to-back soccer in the City Beautiful this weekend. So both of them are going to be playoff games, massive playoff games, do or die playoff games for not only the Pride, but also for Orlando City. So if you already made any plans through the weekend, scratch them off and just go to the games. No, I'm just kidding. No, but honestly, it's gonna be fantastic. So I'm definitely look forward to be covering those for Loud and Proud Orlando. Here with me is John. John, how are you, my friend? After this loss in penalties against Charlotte.
You know, I think it's obviously not great. We wanted to get it done in two, but I think also we gotta say that the best of three is there, and I would consider us the better team. So hopefully we'll get it done over three. Do we want to get it done in two? Of course. There are some factors at play here, I think. I'm not saying it's an excuse, but I don't know why, but we just can't play well on turf. It seems to kill us. I also think that, Charlotte, it's their first ever home game, like home playoff game. We remember what that was like. They've been in the league for like 3 years. There was a big crowd. A lot of that probably played a factor in it. I don't want to make excuses because ultimately we just weren't good enough, and it was just a little bit disappointing. The general play from the guys, I feel like we didn't create enough in order to be able to win this game. But on another day, maybe that offside call isn't called offside, and we get that goal and we win 1-0 and we're through on or we win on penalties and we're through. So I thought it was really tight. It's frustrating not to get it done in two games, but we're not down and out. Let's win it in three. Let's come back home, play our game.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, look, for starters, turf is horrible. I mean, if we could eradicate turf, it would be a great thing for the
I
sport here in
mean,
the
we should
States.
know how to play on turf because we
Yeah,
train on it and we've
yeah,
played on it enough. But I don't know what it is, Luis. But
right. But
it's not an excuse. But we don't perform well on turf.
a lot of
It's
people were
very obvious.
saying, a lot of people were talking about the crowd size, and what John said was spot on. I mean, this is a team, Charlotte, that has come a long way. Fans are right now, the iron is still hot. Everybody's still rallying up behind the team, even though they've had a lot of coach changes, a lot of player changes. They're all really gung-ho with the crown, and obviously they're still in the honeymoon phase. We are completely past that as an organization. I mean, we've been in the MLS already for over 10 years. Right now, I think our fan base, they expect a little more, and it's fine, so we're off the honeymoon phase. So for a lot of fans that possibly traveled, they're like, oh wow, look, the Panther Stadium is looking pretty nice and loud and proud and all of that. And yeah, I mean, that could definitely play a factor mentally for the players, but I really think that it was more honestly, some players that had a phenomenal first game against them in game one, they didn't pan out in this game. And I'm going to point them out. Rafa Santos, for example. It wasn't a good game for Rafa, in my opinion. Then you had Dagger. Dagger had some good scenarios, and then also had a few giveaways that should have not panned out. Um, we saw Angulo, and I think they did well to honestly shut down Angulo um, on the flank, and um, so the bench, I believe, also did a pretty good job eventually. Now, we'll discuss also the disallowed goal that happened, that should have not happened, but overall, now we are forced to play a game three at home, and this is do or die now. This is a make or break. This is, I mean, like John said, on paper, we have the team to beat Charlotte. We have the better squad overall. But obviously, that's not all what matters. As you've seen already, what Seattle Sounders did, going to penalty shootouts back to back and going through what LA Galaxy has done as well. So, I mean, not the most deserve, not the team with the most merit gets through sometimes. Sometimes being a little bit of knowing how to play these games really plays a huge part. Now, what would you say were your highs and lows for this game, John? For the game against Charlotte, the game two.
I would say definitely our lack of creativity would definitely, and like if we look at the stats, they only had a 1.2 xg for them, and we had a 0.29 xg, so really not good for creatively. Yeah, total shots, they had 12 to our 3. They had 3 shots on target to our 1 shot on target, and they had, one big chance, and compared to our 0 big chances, according to FootMob. So, obviously we were not generating as much offensively. We passed the ball around a lot in our own half. We like to pass. It was a bit of that. We just weren't able to really penetrate Charlotte in the right way, as successfully as we did in the first game. Probably due to the fact a lot of that we just aren't able to get that flow, I think, on turf. I think also the other thing is that Charlotte played players in this game that are actually better to play against us, like players that we've seen have good games against us in the past didn't play in that first game, namely Patrick Agamang. Can never say his name, but he had a really good game using, I think his physicality. Like, he didn't do too much, but he caused us problems. A new guy that we had to mark instead of Schroedersky, which we could handle in the first game. And then also Kerwin Vargas, who had a really good game, who came on and, was using his speed and pace and cutting inside and chopping here and there and creating problems. We weren't able to mark him out of the game, or cut him down or shut him out. So, like, those are 2 players that came in and made a big difference for them. And I think that's, for us, we got to be able to deal with those different threats. Defensively, we struggled, but I think offensively, it was more remarked by the fact that we didn't create enough chances, I think, to win this game in 90 minutes. And then we're leaving ourselves at the mercy of Kalina, who, is clearly, for me, goalkeeper of the year. We'll talk about the penalties in a bit, but in the game, we didn't test him enough, in my opinion, from the offense. So my kind of big negative would be just, Facu, Ojeda, Muriel, like Ladero. We just not all the attacking threats on the field, and we were not, hitting the target. We were not making enough chances. I would say the positive, probably Pedro. He had a really good save or 2 in this game. He kept us in it when they probably should have scored one in regulation time. Jansen as well had some great, and Wilder at times made some great tackles. But I think overall, Luis, the team was just did not perform nearly as well as we did at home in game one. So it was just a big sort of step down in our level of play for me.
Yeah, I mean, Orlando City unfortunately failed to get a shot attempt at the first half. I mean, it was just a lackluster.
Yeah, it was a rough first half to
Yeah,
watch,
the
man.
offense in the first half was just completely passive. It feels at times that like some fans were saying that went to the Charlotte game, as you know. If you're listening, I read your comment. It was a lovely lady that commented on Facebook saying, I was there and it felt like the players were like they lost their desire to move forward into the offense because they were kind of intimidated with the crowd. It seemed like, I mean, it's a very quiet
Um,
first half for the Lions. It
I
was
think
just
there's some people questioning whether, they're saying that Oscar made them play more defensively. I wanted to
mm,
get your opinion on that, Luis. I don't know whether or not that's something Oscar like decides. Like a lot of people would say, "Oh, he's going back to what he knows and, being defensive counter, and that's something we shouldn't do in the playoffs." And they would point to him. For me, I don't think he did that personally. I just
no,
think we
no,
didn't play
I
well. I
disagree.
think we went and attacked them.
Yeah.
We played a game. Maybe we didn't play as open as we would at home, but that's a lot of teams won't play as open as they will at home when they go away. I think to say Oscar told them to go there and defend, I don't think that's correct personally. What's your opinion on Oscar's tactics here and what we try to do?
I just felt that Charlotte was better in the pressing Orlando when they
Yeah, they were
had the
just
ball.
more in the game than
Right.
game one.
Charlotte offer more because Charlotte defended in the first game. They looked like they were definitely we looked very aggressive offensively. In this game, the subs actually, if you think about it, when the subs came in, it looked more like game one, you know and I feel like it was more of like the long going season going inconsistency of some of our players, like for example, and again I'm mentioning, again, I don't want to put him on the spot, but for example, Rafa Santos, right? Massive game one, great game one, but in game two, Charlotte saw film, figured him out, and didn't give him no chance. Same with Angulo with that run. Remember that run that he did in game one? Non-existent in game two. So teams are gonna catch up to that, and you have to have the players need to be a little bit more crafty and not be so passive. And then also Kalina, right? So Kalina played a huge factor, not only commanding the back line for them, but also as a keeper. I think he pretty much said, I understand Pedro Galese is a great keeper, but today I'm gonna be like you said, John. Today I am the best keeper in the league. You know what I mean? And there's no questions about it. And I think he delivered a massive performance for them, but I blame this more on some of the players, and I
I
think
mean,
the
he
offense
had
needs to
one
be.
save in regulation, so like he got an 8.5 on football, but that's
Yeah,
because of our penalties. And I would say that's more to do with how badly we took penalties. That is something I would say is I don't know who is deciding the order of the lineup on the penalties, but I don't
yeah,
know why. Well, Nico Ladero, for one, we signed the guy to be a seasoned veteran in these moments to help us get over the line, and he's being more of a hindrance than a help. Like in this game, he came on and didn't do anything. I would have rather have seen Muriel come on at that point. And then in the penalty shootout, there's just a really weak penalty. And then Jansen, another leader of the team that we're looking to be like, get us over the line. And those two guys both missed the penalties and set us up for failure on the penalty shootout. So I wouldn't choose them based on their skill ability first, right? I think you would be with me, Luis. So obviously you pick Faku go first, Muriel, then whoever. So I think everyone agrees with that. So I think that has got to be, is that Oscar? Is that, whoever is running the set pieces? Is that
Martin
Martin
Perlman.
Perlman who's decided that? But forget blaming the coaches. You got to look at those two leaders, the two oldest, most responsible leaders of this team. When we needed them, at the end of the day, Luis, you know, they stepped up and hit it over the bar. I mean, Jansen's especially was
I I
really poor.
I
So
just
it's got
feel,
to be said that that was disappointing to see our leaders fail us in that moment.
yeah, for sure. But I mean, you also have to understand. This game could have not gone into penalties, and penalties is a Russian roulette. So
I get that,
you
but
know,
you want to set
I
yourself
mean,
up to win penalty. I don't
right
think we're setting ourselves up by asking Nico to, or maybe we are, and Nico is, he is a
now,
very good penalty taker, but he's got to put it in the back of the net. That's the end of the day. What it comes down to.
I do believe, and with all due respect, that, and I mean, I'm not trying to say that this is what happened. It's what, after seeing the game, what I feel in my heart, what it looked like. It looked like the penalty takers for Charlotte had Pedro figured out from the get go. They had Pedro figured out from the get go. They've practiced penalties. You could tell. I mean, you could tell. And on our end, it kind of looked like they did rock paper scissors, and and it looked like they didn't really practice any penalties.
Well, it just sucks because
It,
before one of our strengths was like, yeah, we're really good at penalties, and now
yeah.
it's just like, okay, well, are we anymore? Probably. I
Well,
wasn't feeling confident. I felt like when this went to 0-0 and we were like getting penalties, I honestly felt like it was
yeah.
over, mainly based on Kalina and how good he is. But it's easy for him to save them when you don't, like, a good penalty needs to be in the bottom corner, the top right, like the bottom corner, top corners. It needs to be hard and strong. It needs to be a solid, you can try and be cheeky with it, fine, but you have to pull that off. If you put it anywhere else but there, you're asking, like, and Duncan's like power penalty was a good, wasn't half bad. It had a lot of power on it, but he still saved it. So to me, it was just like, can we just have somebody who comes in and buries it in the top corner, kind of like Faku did? That's what I want to see, or Ojeda on his penalties. So it's just disappointing, Luis, that it was a strength of ours that we now seem to have lost.
Maybe, and again, maybe they left it up to the veterans.
I mean,
I,
sure, I
I've
get
seen it.
that,
I've seen
but
it
the
in
veterans
teams.
let us down.
I've
You know
seen
what
it
I
in
mean?
teams. I've seen it in teams that the coaches,
Yeah, I get
they're
it.
like, "Hey guys, you guys decide who takes the penalties. I'm out." I don't think Oscar's that way though. But I feel like, yes, there was a disconnect there. But I do
Yeah,
want to put a little bit of emphasis. If you're leaving a comment, thank you so much. There's no comments right now, but thank you to the 33 people that are watching right now.
yeah.
Thank
Let
you
us
for
know
your
what you think.
support. Um, we, John, control possession throughout the whole game, and to me, again, it looked at times that we were truly like just passing it back, passing it sideways. We went back into that whole tiki taka without a purpose, without any final result in the attacking third. And you know, what do you gain out of that? You know what I mean? I just felt like Orlando, yes, they had over, I think, based on the stats, I think they completed over 100 and something passes more than Charlotte FC during the game. Over 100 passes more than what Charlotte did. Okay, hold on. I have the number here. So
Yeah, I mean,
Charlotte
there's
did,
like a bunch in
yeah,
our
so
own.
Charlotte did 377 passes,
Hmm.
and Orlando had 520.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
so it is crazy,
I think, Luis, we weren't like actually making the, like, Ojeda wasn't making the runs that he usually does from the midfield. Enrique was not able to be effective. and just a lot. Like I was looking for Muriel to come on and play those balls to Duncan, like we've seen him do, because we needed someone to come on and just play more direct or just be able to thread the pass through, because we were trying to play our tiki taka game, and as either because of the field or because of Charlotte, it was just the buildup wasn't happening. It was so disjointed. It was just not that usual flow that we had. I think a lot of that has to come down to the fact that I think Ojeda had really struggled to do much at all good in this game,
Now,
and we rely on him to be that creative generator when we're working well.
yeah, so like you said, Rafa Santos didn't have a great game. Ojeda, a little bit,
Yeah, our usual wing backs were
correct.
not effectual. Like they
Dagger,
nullified that
Dagger, and
well.
Yvonne didn't have
Yeah,
really,
like
uh,
Byrne had a really good game against
right,
Dagger.
you know, and yeah, I mean, Pedro was massive, three massive saves that could have, especially that Aguiman header, that was huge. But obviously, and again, this is look, you know, I'll be honest with you. I know people online comment just for to be trolls and things like that, but you know, people were criticizing Pedro over the penalty shootout. He's never been a penalty taker. He's never been a. I mean, I follow his whole career. I could tell you, he's not Divo Martinez. He's not Rene Higuita. He's not a penalty keeper. Um, he's a keeper that will in the during the 90 will give you those three amazing saves, but his forte ain't penalties. Now, he did his job. He saved you. He had three massive saves within 90 minutes that could have given Charlotte the lead in the game. Uh, you know, and when it comes to the penalties, it's just they figured him out because it's really not that hard to figure him out in penalties. Um, Now, let's talk about. I don't know if you want to dive into that. The penalty, the overturned offside. Um, Nico Lodero took the ball from Luis Muriel, two of the really important subs. The subs that Oscar's putting, they're giving a new life to this team. Muriel, gives it to Facundo. Facundo then, I don't know. What do you think about this goal that was disallowed, John? This whole uh, disallowed goal by offside by Nico Lodero, apparently.
I mean, I think from what you could tell, like he might be like a quarter inch or a half inch offside. It's really fine, like really tight margins. And it's one that usually the linesman from the other side of the field, because Nico is on the far side away from him, probably wouldn't call. Like they probably wouldn't flag it because they're just like it's so tight. I want it, like we'll let the happen and then we'll review it on VAR. So either it's like the call of the century or he's got it wrong, but they didn't look at it for very long. I will say that. I think the VAR review could have been a little longer. I think with stuff like this, it's like, why last week when Duncan scores a goal and his arms are like not last week, a few weeks ago, because Atlanta, he scores that goal and his arms are down by his side and it's called a goal in the field. And yet the VAR pulls it up and they go and look at it for a good, 30 seconds or so at least. And then they go, okay, yeah, definitely not. And then in this scenario, the ref doesn't even go and look at it. They're just going on the VAR, and on the field, it's immediately called offside. So for me, it's like, okay, so in one scenario, you're gonna overturn the call on the field after you actually reviewed it, and in this scenario, you're just gonna go with the call on the field without having the ref actually personally go over the monitor and review it. So, hey, I can sit here and be the whining, complaining man about it, Luis, but it just seems to me sometimes like there's no consistency with how things are reviewed or checked. And this one is pretty freaking tight. And in such an important game, it would have been nice for them to at least shown us a few angles. And like, why don't we have the technology yet where we get some lines up on the field and we actually can measure, how far apart this is? Because to just go off, human eye and then the VAR that quickly just seemed a little bit rushed for a decision.
Yeah, to me it seemed that honestly it kind of looked to me that
But it probably is right, but you know what I mean? It
look,
it would be nice
let's
to at least look at it for
I
more than
know
2
that
seconds.
let's actually watch it. Let just that part, you know. I think it's important. Look at that face by Rodri. If you're listening, we're gonna be reviewing the disallowed goal. So let's watch it like still. You know, you got a yellow card right there, well deserved. Now here's the play, right? So Cartagena, Muriel, Nico, Malanda to me, not so much of a good game. But then again, now he does that, and now he does that, and then now the way they called was he called it based that he was offside right here, right, John?
Yeah, so that's the assistant right before he puts his flag up. But he's really far away, and he's kind of blocked by Malanda as well. So when you'll see it when it kind of they replay it, that this from our angle here, obviously he looks
Yeah,
offside.
yeah.
But when they go straight down the line, it's considerably tighter than that. So
But
um,
to me it
fine
looks like
margins is the phrase I go with.
to me it looks like Reem maybe.
Also on the commentary, they said his arm is offside, but you can't be offside by
Yeah,
your arm. So if they're
yeah. It looked
measuring it by his arm, then that is wrong. But the VAR, one would hope that the VAR knows the rules and was not doing that. It was probably just the commentator who got that wrong.
yeah. So to me it kind of looks. I mean, it's tough, you know. But you know that was the goal right there. You know, that was the goal right there, and it came from two substitutes, right? Um, I've talked to some people as well that reviewed this goal. You know, just friends from my other podcast. They said, you know, it looked like Team Ream was a little bit offside right there, and maybe Ream could have kind of helped for Ladero to for that to be onside. But again, you know, we're kind of nitpicking. You know, Orlando has the firepower and the players to win it in the 90, right? It's easy to say for us because we are behind the screen. They're the ones playing it in the pitch, but they're also professionals. And I feel like in this game, more than focusing on the disallowed goal and focusing on, you know, the penalty shootout that, you know, Pedro apparently was some guy called him trash in one of the Facebook posts. um you know, it's more of like I rather see them holding possession with the attacking third actually working and going forward. You know, I would like to see, you know, my win backs actually having a good game, you know, and everything fluctuating for Orlando to be more proponent and creating sequences that would actually make sense and hopefully have more chances, because three shots, four shots on goal for Orlando City is unacceptable. You know, especially for a playoff game, you know, it doesn't set a good tone on how the outcome of the next games are going to go, right, John?
Yeah, I mean, I think, like we said, there's a lot of factors in this one. The fact that we seem to be unable to play on turf, the fact that they just had that like first playoff, game advantage with the home crowd. It was like 45,000 or something there. So I think a lot of that played into it. Yeah, let's not forget it was 0-0 in a game there where they probably played really well for their standard and we played pretty bad for our standard. So they're like really punching to scrape a 0-0, and then really a lot of it, like Kalina does make some good saves, but it comes down to the fact that we took bad penalties more than anything, I think. So like, yeah, we just didn't do well on penalties. Great, you get a win. But really we're 2-0 up. If we're doing aggregate goals here and we weren't doing, let's go to penalties on a 0-0. If this was best of three European style, we're 2-0 up in the series.
Why can we do that,
Or they
John?
wouldn't even do that anyway because they
Why
wouldn't do a
why
best
why
of three. But
why is the MLS trying to be
because
freaking
MLS just loves
bro,
they
why?
just wanted that. Like literally all of this is set up so that teams like Charlotte can have a playoff home game like they just did. That it's all just money so that eighth, like Atlanta just had that playoff home game against it, like
Massive though. You
Miami,
gotta give it
like
to them. You gotta
yeah,
give it to them.
huge, like of course, like massive win. Like we love to see each other beat you guys beating up on each other. That's great. But what I'm saying is there's a reason like 9 teams almost get in, like 8 teams get in the
Yeah.
playoffs. Like why do 8 teams get a playoff game like that? Of course, great advantage. Like that's why they had to make it best of three, because they wanted to be like, okay, we want to give everybody a playoff game, but we need to have some kind of advantage of if you still come in the top four. I think it should be like top six and then scrap this,
I agree.
best of three nonsense, just knockout stage, one game, that's it.
One game, that's it.
I mean,
I
I just what is the point? And it's a cup, right? The playoffs is a cup tournament. That's what we're at the end of the day. You have different types of tournament. You have a league tournament, which is our regular season, and then it ends in a cup. That's how Americans do it. That's how it's always done. So, like, okay, yeah, the baseball might be a series where they have a bunch of games,
the
but
World
that's
Series.
baseball, and they don't run like we do in soccer. Also, they added a whole other tournament, so there's just so many games. I feel
Right.
like it's so drawn out. Like we're gonna have another like international break during this playoffs. Like
Yes.
it's what are we doing? Like
Exactly.
can we just play our one game, get the season done,
That's it.
and like okay, we're I was pro this regardless of what happens, but it definitely shows that we needed that home, right? If we'd come fifth and New York City had come fourth, we would be going 2 games away
Correct.
and them in a baseball stadium. No way we would have gone through. Probably not the same scenario if Charlotte had come fourth and we'd have come fifth.
Correct.
Probably not going to go through because I had to go 2 games in a stupid you know like and then after this it's like if Atlanta go through and we go through, then we got to go put well, actually no, we'll get home advantage,
No, yeah, we'll get home.
thankfully, but
Let's
like
go.
maybe
Let's
there's no more turf fields in our future. That's what we can hope for,
let's go
Louise.
Atlanta.
But I
I'm,
just think
I'm up.
it's at some point you got to say like what are we doing? Why are there so many teams in the playoffs?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't. And also it's crazy. Like look at LA Galaxy and their 2 games. Like they had a I love this. Okay, this is great, Luis. You have to see this. Let me show you.
I'm telling
Because
you, LA is flying, man. The real LA.
yeah, look at this. The Foot Mob just still thinks, even though like they do the best of three series, so you can see here if I click on this, it'll show you okay, here's our results, like 2-0 against Charlotte, 0-0, and then the game. But they sum it up with total goals here. So it shows 9-1 was the aggregate
There
of
you go.
LA Galaxy versus Colorado. Like they beat them 5-0 at home, and then went away, and then they beat them 4. Like there's a big difference between Colorado and Charlotte in the playoffs this year,
Yeah.
right? There's a huge gap in some of these. Some teams are just like, you just didn't deserve to be in the playoffs at all, right? Like we're having a tight matchup. There's obviously been other tight matchups with the teams that in the East at the top, because the East has just like generally got a lot more strong teams. But some of the disparity in the West is wild. Like
Wild.
like that example there. So like Portland Thorns, sorry, the Portland Thorns, Portland Timbers, for example, right? The Vancouver thing again, 5-0 aggregate. Like it's
Yeah.
just like what are we doing here with this, right?
Well,
Like
the
why do
wild
you
card. Well,
deserve
the
to be
wild
in the
card is just one
playoffs if you
game.
gave it eighth? Huh?
The wild card is just one game, and then
Yeah, well
that's it.
that's one game. That's another thing too. Like what is that about? Like what isn't it should just be eighth. Like there's no play
Exactly.
in. That's it. Like Atlanta here by the grace of the lucky rule. Like I don't know what that is. Like so anyway, it just the playoff
Now,
format is dumb, but that doesn't mean that we shouldn't have won in two. And we're not bitching and complaining about, oh, we should have gone through. That's not what we're saying. We're just saying it's stupid, and I think a lot of people agree that it's stupid
it is this is being set up, in my opinion, and I'm gonna be a
to make
little.
money.
It is just to make money, and again, there's nothing wrong with making money, but it has to make sense. And again, you cannot rewrite soccer. There are other leagues that have played longer and they've had more success than you. So I think it's okay to, copy their format here and there. Plus, like you said, it doesn't make any sense. It's going to be an international break in the middle of all of this, and players have to be concentrated on their national teams like Galese, Cartagena. What if, God forbid, something happens to Cartagena and we are without a double pivot? So those are things that,
But they've also like changed. Remember, it used to be like
yeah,
we'd start like what late March, and we'd be done with playoffs by like mid November. Like it
correct.
was, and
It
they've
was,
just changed this. They added the summer, tournament break, and
yeah.
we're stopping all the time for internationals. Like it just, I
Yeah.
think it's gotten out of hand, Luis.
Stream Jesus says, "What a game the Pulpo had." Thank you, Stream. Yeah, you're
Yeah, it
completely
was
right.
like early save where he dives, and that was an incredible
Massive.
save. Yeah.
JCB's 95. Buenas noches, everyone. We got to brush this off and focus on the weekend. The goal was tight and didn't look like we were firing with all cylinders in this game. You're completely right, sir.
Yeah.
One away and one at home is my vote. Not the best of three crap. Um, yeah, I mean, it
I
could be
think
one.
that's better than like if you want to
Yeah.
give them a game for sure, then
Okay.
just
One
one
way.
and one,
Yeah,
one and one.
and do
You know,
aggregate.
you don't have to do away aggregate. Just if it's tied after the two
Yeah.
games, then you do penalties. Sure,
Yeah, I agree.
fine.
I
But
think
how many are going to be tied after two games? Like we would
the
have won
whole
this.
the
We would
whole
have won
game.
this 2-0 if that was the case, Louise. So you know. Anyway,
Stream Jesus says, "Lucky for us, we have another turf field game in Tampa preseason. LOL." Well, we'll talk about that in just a moment. Stream Jesus, pray for Orlando. Everyone, be careful walking to the stadium. It gets sketchy sometimes. LOL. Yeah, for sure, for sure. LA Galaxy to me is gonna go into the final, the Western Conference Finals. To me, I just feel like they're playing great. I'm not gonna deny. I think they're playing great with Peck and Ricky Push and all those guys. Pencil. All. I mean, they're a pretty solid team. Seattle's gonna give them a run for their money. I feel, but we'll see. Vancouver's also flying, man. Look at Vancouver, 5-0, 4-2. We could see El Trafico also. It could be. I highly doubt that. I think LAFC is gonna be in
yeah.
rebuilding mode. I don't
Honestly,
know.
I like the LA. Like, I don't like LA Galaxy, but I like the LA Galaxy resurgence story.
I
I'm
like
all
that.
I'm all
Yeah,
for that over anything else in the
yeah.
West
I
or
remember.
Minnesota United. I think Minnesota United having a bit of a run. I think that
Yeah,
would be fun. But outside of that, I'm like whatever. I don't.
yeah. I remember before Orlando had an MLS team. Like in FIFA, I would play the LA Galaxy team with Robbie Keane and Beckham
Yeah,
and
I like the storyline of like
yeah.
LAFC are done and they're like that would be great if they get
Now,
uh,
now,
we'll
when
we'll
it comes to
see. We'll see what happens here.
Yeah, look at that. Look,
I mean,
now
that's the thing. They could get knocked out by Vancouver, but
Vancouver.
even if imagine it could end up with a. I would love that though. I think we all want to see that the Western Conference Final being LA versus LA, and then
That'd be great.
Galaxy knocks them off their perch. I think that would be,
5-time MLS champs.
yeah, well, yeah, like it's hey, I'm rooting for the 5-time MLS champs, but
Yeah, me
I
too.
just think it's fun to see that battle go back and forth.
Now, a lot of people don't realize that there's a huge connection that connects Central Florida with the Lakers and the LA Galaxy and all of that. Uh, Shaq went to LA.
Yeah. We
Dwight
should talk
Howard.
about the other games in the East, though, Luis.
Yeah, Miami, Atlanta. Surprise, surprise,
So
man.
this one, of
That
course, like
that I'm so happy for Atlanta, man. I mean,
that's the only time I've ever been like, good. That was nice to see them lose.
you wanna hear me bash Atlanta? Hell no, I'm not gonna bash Atlanta.
Yeah,
I'm not.
yeah.
I
I will
you
bash both of them quite happily. So,
you should be
uh,
proud
I
of.
just love any time because I went on like the of course you got to go on the Inter Miami and look and see what did everybody say. If there was some Orlando fans, shout out to the people who troll on Twitter and just went out there, gave them some. It's got nothing to do with us, but we're still in there. And also all the Atlanta fans on the Inter Miami page that were just you know but the worst thing is all the people were like, "Yo, you should have like done this. Like, you make Messi cry." It's all their fans of Messi who are blaming their own coach, literally saying like Tata Martino is terrible. He's the worst coach
Yeah,
ever. The guy is like just won you supporters shield. He's managing your great assets that you have in this club, and they're turning on their own manager after a loss like that. It shows, I think, that Inter Miami are just a team that's only built to win. So when they lose, everything goes wrong. So that's messed with their headspace, don't you think?
Rob Valentino owned.
And
That,
that too.
yeah,
Fucking love Rob
and
Valentino,
that's
Orlando City
exactly what I was going
legend.
at.
Yeah.
Rob Valentino owned Tata Martino tactically in this game. It was a checkmate,
I
and
don't. It's his boy. It's the Arteta Pep thing, you know.
I am so proud to say that. I'm so proud to say that because he is a huge part of Orlando City history. A lot
But
of
he
people don't
he
realize
was
that.
there under Tata as a coach when he was there originally, right? So
Yeah,
this is like that whole Pep,
yeah,
Arteta thing where it's like, okay, the student and the master. And I just think also Rob is it's crazy to me. If they don't give him the job full
that
time now, even if they lose again,
that's a crime.
you got that one. Not only you get the win against us,
Yep,
then you get the win against Montreal to get in,
Miami.
then
Yeah,
you get this win, and you didn't only lost 2-1 at their house. Like, give the guy the job. I don't know what else.
he's
But
yeah.
it's Atlanta, so they're gonna go, we want someone flashy. But if they don't hire Rob Valentino, someone else should hire like another if you're an MLS club looking for a coach, I would be looking at Rob Valentino because he's done a job there. I think that's impressive.
Look,
Um,
I heard a lot of negativity. I understand there's a rivalry with Atlanta, but I mean, you cannot call a team plastic over them playing in that level against the team that's the darling of the league because Messi's there. You know what I mean? Like they completely ousted them, and that was honestly a super proud moment. I'm just so happy for Rob Valentino and also for the players that they had a massive game against Orlando and they figured out exactly where the weak points for our team and they were able
yeah.
to get a win.
I mean,
You know?
either way, if we go through, we're gonna have to slay the giant or the wannabe giant. Like
Correct.
it's gonna be a big team, and if Atlanta go through, they're gonna be so pumped from knocking them out that it's gonna be even more difficult to play against them. And obviously, if we play, Messi and Co, it's Messi and Co. So never gonna be easy. We
Reigning
got a few
champs.
comments here from Alonso. You want to read those out?
Yeah, let me read this. It says Buena tarde, Vancouver is a good team. There you go. Yep. Atlanta will advance with Vancouver. and then Minnesota versus Orlando City for the MLS Cup. Man,
Lol. Imagine the scenes
if
of
that's
if
the case, man,
MLS Don Garber will cry so hard
he
if
will
that's his
be.
MLS Cup. He's like, no, two teams I don't care about.
Yeah, he's gonna go. He's gonna go and cry to his mommy,
If
man.
that happens, we need to call it the Adrian Heath MLS Cup, like officially, because it's
That'd
like
be
we need
hilarious.
to get him to come out on the
You
field, like
imagine with a
bless it,
trophy,
like hold, give them the ball before they start. Be like, go boys, figure it out.
or you can get him
Uh,
have a suit that's the color of Minnesota, and the other half the color
that would be great.
purple. That'd be hilarious.
A
But
few more comments.
it says New York blew the crew out of the water. Even the fans are mad. Yeah, so that's where I was gonna get at,
Yeah,
John.
that's where I was gonna go next too. Luis, take it away.
Amazing. I mean, they showed Red Bull show to be a very solid team. They had a really good signings as well, and they definitely panned out, and they completely stunned the reigning champs, and they eliminated them. They're done. Their season's done, and
Not only that though, but also
yeah,
Game 3 for Cincy in New York.
and it could be a New York. How do you call that? It's not el tráfico. It's not el tráfico. It's not
It's the Hudson River Derby.
the
No, right?
Hudson,
Don't they call it the Hudson River Derby? I think they do.
the pigeon derby.
The Pigeon, yeah. The F Train Derby. I don't know. I don't know what they call it.
G
But
Unit
yeah,
derby.
you could be looking at old New York on this side. It's southeast over here. We know that. Which southeast teams
It will be
get
great,
get
man. If
through us or Atlanta,
you m-
Miami? We'll see. Over here, we're looking like obviously Minnesota LA Galaxy is already locked in. Seattle, and then Alonso's pretty feeling good about
Probably
Vancouver,
Vancouver.
so that's going to be like a
Hopefully,
Northwest derby. So we've kind of only this one, only the LA Minnesota are not really close to each other. The rest are all derbies and big games. So let's see where it goes from here, Luis.
yeah. You know, it's going to be if we played if Orlando plays like game two against the next opponent, they will lose the series. You just
Yeah,
can't hold possession for over 90 minutes, have over 500 passes, and then a really bad statistic and zero attack. You just can't.
I think also that first half was a great example from that's like Charlotte at their like peak. That's
Yeah,
like where they're playing really well defensively. They're they're getting on the counterattack, they're creating options, they're getting the ball. Like they're also just such a massive team, Luis. Like they don't underestimate like Diani and Aubameyang. Oh, sorry, Aubameyang, Agamang,
I,
and who's the center back? Malanga and
yeah,
Tim Ream and Privet. That's something I do want to say. I forgot about talk about that. On the last game, there was that head injury that
yeah,
happened, and they did not follow the correct protocols because the
correct.
player needs to go off the field and they need to do the concussion checks off the field, and neither of them actually fully went off the field. Not only that, so they had two players on. Not only that, Privet was bleeding the entire game. I posted a picture on X of the end of the match. He's celebrating, and there's still like blood dripping down the back of his head. Just you can't be bleeding on the
And
field.
that, yeah,
You literally
hey,
can't come back on the field if you're still bleeding until it's
yeah.
been cleaned up. So it's just little stuff like that. It's like why do we have these rules if the refs don't follow them, or even the physios? Like, you guys need to know how these things work, and it's a safety thing as well more than anything, Luis. But
No, for sure. I mean, you don't wanna get any
yeah, I
weird.
mean, think about what happened with Dagger. Like, he got the safety check, went back on, and he was still, it wasn't great. So you got to watch out for these things.
Yeah, for sure. Let's read some comments here. It says FC Cincy is like Peyton Manning. They choke every time. There you go. The kill, kill, kill. It says nice stadium, but going back to the car can be dangerous at night. Well, the Charlotte Stadium. Yeah.
I don't. Is that where you guys went? Okay, you guys went
Yeah,
to
probably the
you're
Charlotte
talking about this
Stadium.
the Charlotte Stadium.
Yeah, it's probably
It's like downtown, right? So it's like really downtown. The bank they call it.
yeah, it's a massive
I
stadium
can
too.
definitely feel like a lot of people on like social media after this were like really frustrated, and I was like, well, if you went to watch that game, like that is,
Yeah.
I feel for you because that's an away trip that's pretty rough. Like I went to Nashville when we lost to them in the playoffs away. Like went to watch it like Titan Stadium, and it was like freezing cold, and we just got smoked by Hani Mukhtar. That sucked.
Do
That's
you
it
do
was
you
like,
at least
yeah,
enjoy
we're
some
watching playoffs,
barbecue?
but
Some good
also,
barbecue?
yeah, I mean, literally afterwards, I was like, get me some barbecues and whiskey in the bed because I'm
There you
done.
go.
I'm done with this. So shout out to anybody who went. Sorry that you got to see such a rough game to watch.
Stream Jesus, Don Garber will literally make up a trophy for whatever place Inter ends up and praise them. Well, he already gave him,
It doesn't matter. They're already in the Club World Cup. They
correct.
already. That's fine.
Jeffrey O, make OCSC great again at taking penalties. That's a good one.
Yeah,
Stream
yeah.
Jesus, we need to talk about the penalties. I get it, we missed, but Duncan shot it straight at the keeper in frustration. There you go.
We did talk about the penalties.
Yep.
I talked a lot about how bad it was. So yeah, nothing,
Ocupamos
nothing to
on
say. Just bad penalties.
It says we ocupamos aunque sea el gol de la honra. I mean, I don't know how to translate that. I think it's like the honor goal. The Wedley score one goal just because. A lot of people speculate that refs were lenient on Charlotte because first game playoffs in the stadium equal big money maker. There you go. It's probably true.
Um,
I mean, that was just a bad ref in my opinion.
what from game two?
Yeah, I mean, he allowed. I mean,
I don't think it was that bad. It
I
was
mean, he
a
wasn't
lot of
like horrible, but
no. It was pretty average,
he
bad MLS
he
refing.
he had he let the game just play out, and
I do want to say shout out to Dean Smith, who was sure that
yeah,
Pep Biel would have his red card overturned,
yeah.
and he did not. So, but that is something we need to watch out for because Pep Biel will be back. Maybe a little bit frustrated having not been able to play in game two, but he will be available for them again, I believe, for game. There's only a 1 game suspension, so.
Happy Charlotte fans equals big money. Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's a
I mean,
massive.
it's just part of this whole league thing where it's, giving every team a playoff game so they can just, get in every market as possible and have playoff games everywhere.
Yep, and I guess we were gonna talk about also. Oh, the Inter thing. Uh,
Yeah, we
so
should discuss the news today that was announced.
So today, it was announced by the club that Orlando will face Inter Miami in a preseason edition of the Florida Derby at Raymond James Stadium. So Orlando City, in conjunction with the Tampa Bay Sports Commission, announced that they're going to face Inter Miami in the preseason edition of the Florida Derby on Valentine's Day, February the 14th, at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa. And so obviously they're going to be selling tickets. And they announced it today, and the reason why they announced it is because because they're also told by the venue and the commission and also Inter, hey, announce it now, because you have to announce it, and so I know, when I posted this, man, we got some comments. I feel compelled of putting it on the pod, but I mean, it's just people saying boo-hoo. I'm not going there. I want to play the Rowdies. I don't want to play Inter Miami. This is a cash money grab, cash cow, cash and carry, Win Dixie. I'm not going there ever. Why is a marketing team so instead of winning the game two. Why do you have to push this game on us? And so, number one, I'm just saying what happened. I'm communicating what was told to me, to the fans, and I was not the only one. There were other people that also posted that on Twitter and on Facebook. But it is pretty massive because it's a new market. I mean, if you think about it, we are kind of in a way kind of shafting it on the Rowdies. The Rowdies are from St. Pete. They're Tampa's soccer team, and we're going there with Inter, and pretty much saying, "Hey, you really don't matter here. We're gonna fill up your stadium, and we're gonna play here." Now a lot of people are saying that Messi's not playing, but I mean they're advertising Messi. Messi's everywhere, and all the flyers and all the pictures. So I don't know. What are your thoughts regarding that? It's a pretty good preseason game. We're also going to be facing in the FC Series Cup. We're going to be facing two top Brazilian teams, Atletico Mineiro and I believe Botafogo. I believe. So
Well, a few things. I think I like that we have some organization on some preseason tournaments, like
yeah,
where this is like a exhibition game that
yeah,
we're playing. Obviously, we got the FC series that you said. I
mhm,
think it's good. It's a good way for the club to make money. Like
correct.
let's not beat
Yeah,
around the bush here. This is a preseason game to make money and
correct.
also to give the boys a run out. Now it's probably done in conjunction with Inter Miami. They're
Yep,
like, hey, we're not going on our world tour again this year. You want to do something, and this is how it works. It also is probably put in, like it says, in conjunction with the Tampa Bay Sports Commission. How these things work is they're local, and we have one here, the Central Florida Sports Commission,
correct,
who do a lot of things, and their venue, they basically run the Citrus Bowl or
correct.
Camping World or whatever you want to call it nowadays. The Tampa Bay Sports Commission runs Raymond James Stadium. Now,
Yep,
most of the year, it's full with like concerts and obviously, the Bucks and everything going on.
Creed,
Yeah, like
Metallica.
it's like us. This is busy stadium. Like a lot of the concerts going on there. So what happens is they're like, okay, we have off season time, or we have
Yeah,
time where we want to like we have off season, but dead venue time, and that's around February. It's like okay, we haven't got much going on here at this time of year, so let's use our stadium. They probably worked in conjunction with Orlando City and with Inter Miami and said, "Yo, let's what would it take to get you guys out here to do a preseason hosted game where they know that like buttloads of Argentina fans and Messi fans are gonna come and watch Messi and Inter Miami, and sure, we're gonna have less fans there, but anytime Messi goes anywhere, there's gonna be more fans for him than there are for us. So that it doesn't matter to me. I think, why not get a piece of the cake, right? Why not get a little bit of the action? I think a lot of people complaining that it's not here, but like, I think also this whole thing is, like I said, stems from the fact that it's the Tampa Bay Sports
commission.
Commission that are probably footing a lot of the bill
Correct.
here, like the operating costs to get the
Yep,
teams out there to put them on. And then they're going to split profits with the
that's what I
clubs.
was gonna. Yeah,
Like this is how these things like you have to remember like a preseason game is only profitable if they make it profitable. Like this is not uncommon for teams like Man U every year go, okay, we're gonna go off to China because we can sell a butt ton of jerseys in China and play some Chinese teams. Like
correct.
we're just going down the street and playing into Miami. Like it's the
Now,
same thing.
now,
So I think get your bag. I don't
yeah,
care about
yeah,
it.
get your
I
bag.
won't go personally. I think we're gonna be massively like underrepresented. I would be shocked if there's a lot of Orlando City fans there.
Well, that's
I think it's more of a chance for people to see Messi, but it's a good chance. Like maybe Luis, I would say this as well. One more thing. We lost to Inter Miami hard at the beginning of this year, right? Maybe
mhm.
by playing them in preseason, by stepping up our level of opponent earlier in preseason, that will help us as well not be so slow to start. This could be a good thing.
Look, you have to look at the positives all around for a preseason game. Now, you have to understand whether you like it or not. Inter Miami right now is the top team in the MLS. So
Yeah.
you are exposing your brand, which is Orlando City, with a brand Inter Miami that is worth right now 3 times your brand. And this is just factos, facts. I'm not talking about feelings right now. Okay. Now, by exposing your brand to play against Inter, you are an established brand for over 10 years. You should have the drive that I do every day to the stadium, Interco. It's 2 hours and 30 minutes, maybe 2 hours and 15 sometimes if I press the gas a little harder. It's a feasible drive. Now, I'm just saying, you put your money where your mouth is. Rivalry game, you're Orlando City through and through. You're
Now,
gonna, you know what I mean. You're gonna allow for Inter to sell out the stadium. You're gonna have one purple fan that's gonna be probably me and my dog. Yeah, like I mean, I'm just saying
I
that's
gotta say that if we played the Tampa Bay Rowdies preseason, I 100% would
cor-
go watch that. But
correct.
that's because I would love the nostalgia.
Correct. That's nostalgia though.
I'm
That's
not,
fan service.
I'm not interested in going to
Right.
the Messi show.
Right. But
This is more of that, really. That's
right.
what
But you
it
have to
is.
understand, we pride ourselves, and I've heard it from people from Orlando. We pride ourselves to say we are the soccer city in Florida. We are the team in Florida.
Well, that's the thing. It's not going to
You know
show
what I
that
mean?
way.
Like,
I don't think it's going
so
to show that way in this friendly.
you go to neutral ground for the MLS because USL doesn't count. They don't count the Rowdies.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Well, this is not even. This is NFL
Right.
stadium,
So
you
you go
know.
to
So
right, you go to Tampa, which is 2.5 hours
yeah.
away, right? And you're literally are saying I'm not going, and that's fine if you don't go. I mean, and anybody goes, it's fine. I'm just saying, in my opinion, I feel it's like, hey, like we're being exposed here. Well, this is going to be probably broadcasted internationally as well. It's seen in other teams, and we could showcase, even if we win, lose, or tie, that at least our fans are there supporting the Lions, and we are the Florida team. Why not make that case? And I know it's a preseason game,
I think
but
that's the thing. We gotta. I think at the end of the day, it's a preseason friendly,
eh,
and I think that there are fans of Orlando City and Inter Miami that live in Tampa that would go to this game. If you don't live there and you don't want to go to a preseason game, then I totally understand that. Like
yeah, no, I agree with you.
I don't know if I can. It's on February. It's literally Valentine's Day. I don't know how many
Wives,
wives and girlfriends are gonna want to go. Do this. Like
true.
love, love. Gotta love all the supportive other halves out there
You could
for
pretend you're going
sure.
somewhere and
Who
then you
aren't
stop
like
by
if
the
you're not a
stadium,
soccer, other half, and you're with someone who is one of us.
right? You
Sure, we're
imagine,
nuts. We're
you
here
imagine
all the
taking
time just
stuff
talking about
to
soccer.
you imagine you taking the step
Yeah,
thing,
if
step
I
things that
said
you're taking
if
into a
I said to
restaurant.
her, right,
You imagine
we're
you're
gonna
in the
go
car
watch Orlando Miami on Valentine. I don't think that's gonna go. That's not gonna fly for
on
me.
the doghouse in the
That's
yeah,
that's
sleeping in the
straight to
couch.
jail.
I agree. I
So
agree with you.
I think that right there is it's a date night for Messi fans. That's what it is. Date night for Messi fans. That's what it is.
No,
Uh,
obviously, money is gonna be made, and like Stream Jesus says right here. Honestly, I enjoy the FC series against the Brazil teams, and I think honestly, we gain more playing against these Brazilian teams
I
too.
think it's more exciting preseason to
Yeah,
play teams you don't play.
yeah,
But I think also again, like this is most definitely because the Tampa Bay Sports Commission
they're
wants to
paying,
put
man. They're
something
paying bank.
on, and they go, "Let's bring
Yeah,
Messi because he's hot and he'll bring money and crowd and it'll sell money." And then we can also, who's he going to play? All right, what about Orlando City? Do they want in? Great, they want in. Cool, we got a game. Like it's just how these things are done. You're creating an exhibition game. You're creating something out of nothing, right? It's the same with the Florida. Like every year, the Florida Derby. the Florida Cup, Luis, with all the Brazilian teams, right? It changes. There was a period where there's a bunch of German teams in there. You just got to find like a 5 clubs that are going to do some preseason and convince them to come and do a camp and all this stuff. So it's very much a case of like these things are created. I wouldn't say like with a lot of planning, but they're more like what's the word, like it's more of like a ad hoc sort of like, oh, okay, like maybe we're looking for a game, or we haven't filled our calendar, we got a spot, and there's, or in this case we are probably just approached and said, would this be something we want to do? Yeah, makes sense for us, we need a preseason game,
Yeah,
why
so
not?
Orlando is I feel like the way they are setting themselves up right now. I mean, I would love to see another Rowdies Orlando game, but I mean, they're past that nostalgia phase. I think what the team wants
Just
to do.
preseason, just be fun to,
Correct.
you got to
Yeah,
play
I
some
mean,
lower teams during preseason as
I
well.
do see, for example, and I talked to people from the Tampa Bay Sun. I do see the Tampa Bay Sun maybe trying to call the Pride and be like, "Hey, let's play
Yeah, that would
I
be nice
four
to
I
see.
four Derby. One in
The
your
I
home,
four
one yeah
women's derby.
yeah, one in your home, one in our home. The I-4 Derby over there at Interco, with Listro and Timrak playing for the Sun against their former teammates. I guess it's pretty cool, and it could happen. It says, honestly, I enjoy the FC series this and Saber to Suarez, kill, kill, kill. That will never happen. Neymar will rather hang out with Inter, Puff Daddy, and Messi. There you go. Neymar is a good faker. He might just be faking it to get the hell out of there. Probably. Jeffrey O. Breaking news: Neymar is injured. I guess OC is not getting him anytime soon. I don't know if we're gonna be getting Neymar. I think he'll fit like a glove here, but if he's injury prone and they said that is his, yeah, I think his, yeah,
Yeah, I don't what
yeah,
no.
I don't think that
We
that's
got
the way.
Faku. We don't need Neymar.
Yeah, I feel like I would love to get a Cucho Hernandez instead of a Neymar for sure.
Yeah, I would love to get a killer center back. That's
Right,
what
right.
I
That's right.
you know.
That's right. Alert the players not to spit behind the ref, says Jeffrey O. We need to
Oh
recruit Marcelo from Brazil, bro. Marcelo's like 38 years old, bro.
yeah,
Come on.
that's an old one.
Now it says Rowdies are your daddy. You're from Tampa. It says, no, no, no. So no, I grew up in Central Florida.
I
I
love that
I
you try
I
to play
always
it.
supported Orlando City. I've been a season ticket holder in the USL era since they started, and no, I never really liked the Rowdies, to be honest with you. Now I moved to Tampa because of personal reasons, the job reasons, which obviously I don't have to tell everybody. But since I started covering the team, I lived 1 year in Orlando, and then the rest of the years I lived in Tampa, and then it's. I mean, I've been doing it, and yeah, but I have no connection with the Rowdies. Now I do talk to some people from the Sun here and there. I've been to a couple of games. There's going to be a video that I'll be putting out, talking about one of their latest games because Listro and Timrek played, and so we're kind of following now that the seasons are about to be over, guys, and we're trying to follow players that played in Orlando or in Orlando Pride, and I'm trying to see what happened to them, right? So Amanda Allen played for Lexington, and she had a pretty good game. So we're gonna be talking a little. I'm gonna be putting a little video there, 10-minute video. That's for the Pride fans, but it. Other than that, no, never, never. It says, I say I am from Tampa. Vamos Rowdy says. There you go. Alonso's a Rowdy fan. There you
Get
go.
get this out of here, Alonso.
Incredible. No,
Stop joking.
but yeah, I mean, it's gonna be a good opportunity. I think the preseason's gonna be great. I'm excited to see the new jersey, the new purple jersey, John, because there's gonna be a new purple jersey, right?
Yeah. Did you ever think on this game three? I think obviously Pep Biel is back. It's gonna be interesting with the lineup changes. I think for us the lineup will probably stay the same.
Yeah, it's gonna
I
be the
don't.
same.
A lot of people might say Duncan should start. Enrique's got a little cold, but I don't think he's playing terribly. I think
I like
we
Duncan
just
coming up.
gotta look at game one and go do that again in our house. Don't ignore game two. Just file that one away. What didn't happen, and yeah,
Yeah,
all
just
out at home with our crowd, Luis.
yeah, we have to win. I mean, like people were putting on like I saw the now I want to ask you this, John, because you've been a huge part of everything in Orlando. Today, I don't think it was today, yesterday, the club put a picture of Dagger doing like this.
The all teeth symbol.
I don't know if it was like this, or like this.
It's like,
Now,
oh,
what do you think about old teeth?
um, no,
Sounds
just no. I'm not a fan of the all teeth.
kind of right,
Yeah. I think the problem is, and I understand. Like I worked in the marketing department there.
right. That's what I
I
was
know
gonna
what they're
ask.
doing. They're coming up with slogans for like every year. It's like we got to brand the playoffs. We need a slogan.
Old teeth,
We need a like a rally cry.
right?
I don't think all teeth is it. I think they missed the boat there. But also like they've done some great ones over the years. Like, we did one that was like paint the city purple.
Perfect. Love
There's
that.
man the wall was my
Man, the wall
favorite
was
ever.
great. It was on
Like,
the jersey.
so don't reinvent the wheel every year.
Yeah.
Just every playoffs, man the wall, or like, defend the fortress, whatever you want to call it. Like pick that rally cry and let's just go with that because yeah, all teeth, y'all have yeah, no. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
There was a movie called Teeth.
No, I just
L- Lady
no.
Gaga's
I'll
CD
tell
is
you what,
called.
there was very little teeth in the game too, Luis. I'll say
That's right,
that right
baby
now.
teeth.
Yeah, it was all dentures for that one. So let's you know what I mean? It's like we need to see some teeth in game
Right, there's
three. If
more
that's the
than teeth. Now,
slogan,
people put
where are these
people
teeth
put on
at?
the picture, and when I noticed people putting just win, just win, just win, and that's exactly what the fans want. I mean,
I mean that's yeah.
just win.
And I think that was game two more than anything was like it was fine margins that we didn't win.
Yeah,
And if we had won on like if we did not called offside and Duncan had got Baku had scored that late goal, then we wouldn't even be, sitting here talking about game three. So
yeah,
it's these fine margins. And in game two, we got the margins, we did the little things wrong. And in game three, we've got to play like we did in game one, connecting passes, creating chances. I do think at home on our turf field, that just makes not on our turf field, on our field, real field, just makes a big difference. I think the boys also need, they need the wall, they need the support.
they needed
So,
support.
like we talked about, game one, Luis was a little bit disappointing in attendance. Like we'll go into that again, but we said that might have been it. Like that could have been the only playoff. Like
Yeah,
not a good thing that we've got game three, but this is another chance. If we maybe we'll get another playoff game if we go through this one and then Atlanta go through, then we get it home. But if Miami go through, then we could be looking at our last playoff game at home this year. So
yeah.
I
Orlando.
really hope that we pack it out, man.
Yeah, I do the same way. I feel the same way. I feel like against Charlotte again, back to back soccer. The Pride on Friday, City on Saturday.
I mean, this is Saturday, 6 o'clock. It's a great time.
Great time.
Like,
Yeah,
let's really,
rip it. Yeah,
yeah,
and the wall and the way the stadium is designed, and I mean the wall never disappoints. The
yeah. I think
supporter,
you can see how much difference it makes to them. And like,
yeah,
we all got to get behind the boys and
and
let's see
just
them perform like game one. That's what we need.
correct. It says Anthony Solis thoughts on the MLS switching to the European League schedule August May. Oh wow,
Do it.
do it.
100%
I'm
do it.
110% on board on that.
I don't buy this. It won't work because this winter.
Correct.
I call BS on that.
You
You
know,
know why? Show me a Packers game. I call BS on it doesn't work in the winter.
Mhm.
Look how many people go stand out there freezing their butts off watching the Bills or Seahawks or any of your
The
teams way up
Broncos, the
north.
Broncos.
Literally on like Christmas Day, they're out there
Yeah.
freezing their butts off. So I don't buy that. I think, I think there's a way to do it. I think if you're really a northern stadium and you got to figure out, how to put, there's something called under soil heating, Luis. It's a miracle. I don't know
Oh,
if you've ever
wow.
heard of this.
Me
Um,
neither.
no, technology that's been around for a long time. Like,
Is it
how do
made
you
by
think?
Tesla?
Yeah, no, literally you just
I'm
heat
just joking.
underneath the soil. So if it gets a lot of snow, it does melt slowly over time. It's used in a lot of stadiums across Europe. Yeah, it could be done. I think also, Luis, like we said, just the benefits of being on the same transfer schedule as the rest of the world
Fantastic.
are monumental. Also, the lining up of all of these international breaks makes
110% sense.
so much difference to both the players' welfare and our ability to like not get players injured because we're, for example, like plus there's the whole summer tournament break thing which would be eliminated, which I think is dumb and stupid. So it'd actually be like a shorter season, or I don't know exactly right, but it would be just make more sense. Like it would be
Yeah.
continuous. You wouldn't have a big gap in the middle. So
Now,
I'm all for it. I don't see why there's an argument against it personally.
yeah, I'm all for it too. I think it's time for not
Maybe if
to,
you're like really far north, you don't
yeah,
want it, but
not to reinvent the wheel and just adapt to the times. You know what I mean? The MLS at some point in their history had penalty shootouts, doing the what is it called? When they will run and do the, I forgot the name of it. It wasn't penalty shootouts. It was just like it was like the attacker and the keeper going 1v1. Um, don't reinvent the wheel. I think it's great if it's switched to the European League schedule. All teeth, I like it, says Alonso. Kill, kill, kill. The names are corny. They probably have someone's uncle picking names. We were teething, says kill, kill, kill. Hopefully they give us a free game towels like Charlotte or something to make up for the loss. Well, hopefully it's a win, guys. I'm hopeful that Orlando will go through. And I think it's gonna be a phenomenal game. Hopefully we see a Luis Muriel goal, right? Maybe
yeah,
another Ivan Angulo run, right?
I
Now,
just yeah, we gotta get this win, just win, Luis
yeah,
at home.
yeah, just went. Quick thing. Wilder Cartagena and Pedro Galese were called up for Peru. That's one the thing I wanted to also say. They're they're gonna be playing Chile on November the 15th, and Argentina with Messi as well. Um, the Tuesday of that. I think it's November the 19th. I want to say. Yeah, November 19th. Yeah, November 19th. They're playing Buenos Aires. Now, Galese and Cartagena will miss the game against Chile. No, Galese will miss the game against Chile, and Cartagena is able to play both. So Galese will only play against Argentina because he has yellow card accumulation. So just something to keep in mind, and they'll be back for hopefully for the rest of the the rest of the playoffs. Hopefully playing a final, that'd be great. But anything else you want to add, John, before we go, or are we good? Or
No,
you want
I
to
just
talk about
think,
something else? You want to touch on
obviously,
something else?
like look out for the availability report later in the week
Yep.
because that could change. But I think everyone's fit and healthy. We're gonna go get this win against Charlotte, man. Like excited. Also, everyone should come out and watch the Pride in their playoff game on Friday nights. Their first ever playoff game in Orlando. So massive occasion. So come watch that. Double playoff weekend. Also,
Tickets.
shout out to all the staff who who thought they had a day off on Saturday, but now they all have to work because there's a home playoff game.
Yeah,
So, you
honestly,
forget, right? We're like, yeah, another game. And then they're all like, oh, we got to work again. Like, it's been a long season. So, shout out to all the staff that work hard to make the game days happen. You guys are awesome.
yeah. So honestly, it's gonna be pretty pretty good to face Charlotte again, and hopefully with a win in front of our supporters. It's gonna be make a massive noise. Hopefully around the league. Hopefully another shout out for Pedro Alese. Hopefully, and I don't know, man. I'm hoping we get another derby. I'm hoping we get ATL. I am. It'll be just amazing for them to see him beat Miami, man. To see Miami crumble down this season. I don't know. You,
Well,
you,
one step at a time, but let's start just beating Charlotte on the weekend.
there you go. Hopefully we see Enrique Bicycle, says Stream Jesus. There you go. But anyways, guys, I wanted to thank you guys for all your support. About 75 people watching live. Thank you so much for your support. If you just arrived and you can rewind this and check us out. We are available. We are Loud and Proud Orlando. We're available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts in audio form. Also, we're available on X, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube as Loud and Proud Orlando, LPO underscore podcast on X. John, you have your Twitter as well. You want to give your
Yeah,
at?
I am at John Rollins OCSC on X if you want to follow me there.
Yeah. Now, we also tomorrow's the election time, so
Yeah,
we
make sure you voted if you haven't
make
yet.
sure get out there and
Go
vote.
do your
Yeah,
civic duty.
do your civic duty. I know some jobs are letting people go a little early if you just say that you have to vote. So talk to your HR representative for that. But anyways, I want to thank you guys for your support. Hopefully, massive 3 points going through the next round. And we'll be discussing all of that and more during the week that comes. Tomorrow we have Pride Pod at 7 as well. So with all the information about the Orlando Pride, and again, all teeth, John.
All teeth, baby. Vamos, Orlando.
Vamos Orlando. Have a good one, guys.